We're here in sunshine in Melbourne, just partway through our CroakeyGo, and we're currently at the bus and train interchange. And I've got a guest here. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you're here today?
Sure. My name is Margareta Windisch and I work at RMIT in the social work department. I help coordinate our field work and I'm also doing my PhD at Monash University and I'm focusing on urban heat waves and social vulnerability. And my key kind of participant group are older women who live alone. And I want to find out how they access public cool spaces because public cool spaces are considered a key health measure during heat waves. And for people who can't afford to stay at home because it's too hot and dangerous, they are encouraged to access public cool spaces. And I'm just very curious to see, do these public cool spaces that are advertised by our government and councils, do they actually meet the needs of one of the most vulnerable population groups during heat waves? So I'm really appreciating CroakeyGo together with IPC and the council to actually take this issue like into the public space because I think we don't hear enough about it and actually talk about heat wave health.
What kind of barriers and enablers have you found so far? Have you been able to find anything there?
Yeah, I found actually quite a few things. I think the biggest barriers are actually the social disadvantage, I would say. It's not necessarily the hazard itself, like heat waves, but it's where you're located socially in a way. So if you've got money, if you've got social connections, there's a really high chance that you're going to be okay during a heat wave because you can keep yourself cool, you have people checking in on you. But if you are poorer, if you live alone, you don't have a strong network, and you live in a house that is not equipped to keep you cool, then that creates really your vulnerability. So it's really your social location. Another key barrier that I've kind of found is actually people being able to access these cool spaces because we're talking older, vulnerable women. Some of them don't drive, don't have a car, or they have some mobility issues. And we know public transport is pretty bad in Melbourne. So even to get out of the house into one of the cool spaces has been raised as a barrier. Then I guess the spaces itself that are advertised as cool spaces, sometimes, it's the libraries, are not always super comfortable for older people. They can't bring their pets to any of the cool spaces. Who'd leave their pet behind? Nobody, yeah? And the other thing that I've now started to find too is that public, I guess, shopping centres, are also being advertised to access. Now they are not friendly, welcoming spaces, but also one shopping centre in the city of Moreland has actually taken out their seats and tables inside. So on the one hand, you have government saying go there, and then you have these big corporate entities that take away some of that space. So I think that's some of the things that I'm finding, and the other thing that I've also found is that heat waves don't trigger the same kind of Commonwealth funding that other disasters would, like bushfires or floods. So when there's a heat wave emergency, it's up to the individual councils to actually protect and look after their staff and vulnerable community members, and I think that's totally inadequate.
Great. Well, we'd love to hear more about your research as it progresses. Thanks, Margareta.
No worries.